Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good morning, Navneet. I'm Agam Vakil. Here are the headlines. It's a listless start to the trading day. The Nifty trades little change. Pharma stocks are leading the gains. Shriram Transport Finance and HDFC Bank see a surge in open interest today. Praj Industries has halted a 7-day decline on gained over 7% after it signed a licensing agreement with Jivo. And Indiabulls Housing Finance is among the top gainers on the Nifty. The stock had lost over 10% in the last two trading sessions. Hindalco says it has temporarily suspended operations at its Muri plant, says it will not have any material impact on its financials.
Okay, those are the top headlines for you at this hour, but let's also tell you what's happening with the markets. After the last hour recovery that one saw in the markets yesterday, we did see a gap down opening, but the indices have actually recovered from those opening levels. At least right now, Nifty is trading with cuts of almost 7 points. Premium is almost the same where it closed yesterday, around the 70 points. Right now, the futures are quoting a price of 11,728. The Bank Nifty too has been trading above the mark of 30,000, down as much as 23 points right now. Premium has come off slightly from 200 points to currently quoting around 180 points. That's the premium for you for Bank Nifty. Just want to highlight the market breadth today, at least as of now, has been positive. It's almost 3:2. And one sector which is shining in trade, that's the Nifty Realty Index. It's trading with gains of almost 2 to 2.5% as we speak. If you could just pull up that index, Nifty Realty is the top sectoral gainer for the day. Well, in terms of the option strike, what's doing well? Remember, tomorrow is Thursday, so you'll have the weekly expiry coming back. That's the Nifty Realty Index up almost 2.5%. The open interest concentration for the weekly expiry, which is scheduled for tomorrow, it's between 11,800 call to about 11,600 put. So probably watch out for that range at least till tomorrow. But in today's session, where is the action seen in terms of OI addition? We're seeing action coming by for strikes like 11,700 call, as you can see on your screen, and even the 11,700 put. That's active in trade, but the screen is indicating there is more of put writing that we've seen in the system, at least as of now. Let me quickly tell you how's the FI setup looking like. Though the markets went up yesterday, some cautious trade was clearly indicated, because if you look at the percentage of longs that the FIs have on index futures, it's come off to levels of 66 versus 68%, which was seen at the start of the series. And also, FIs bought more of calls and also wrote more of puts in yesterday's session. The contracts were between 15,000 to 14,000. And Agam, that's clearly telling you they're hedging themselves on the downside as well.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a short expiry, Navneet, and it also involves a lot of holidays. So, of course, we're going to see a lot of time decay coming through in this particular series. But that said, let's also take a look at all the stocks which are seeing a significant increase and decrease in open interest. I'm going to start with the increases as usual. Torrent Power right at the top, along with CESC and HDFC Bank. So as you can see, there is very little change in their underlying spot prices, and yet there's been significant increase in OI. Of course, we're expecting that HDFC block deal to come through. Interglobe Aviation, on the other hand, continuing to see strength, and Shriram Transport Finance on the losing end, but will still book significant amount of addition in open interest. Let's take a look at those stocks which are seeing unwinding. And not too much to speak for here. V-Guard Industries, PC Jeweler, South Indian Bank, but all looking at less than 1% declines in open interest. So for now, positions being clearly taken towards longs and shorts and we keep watching out for something like an HDFC Bank.
Yep, and a lot of stocks to watch out for. We'll tell you which are the stocks that we would be discussing on the show. Just before that, if you could just pull up the intraday chart, if it's possible, of the India Volatility Index. I just want to highlight this has been a concern for last 2 days. In fact, when the markets opened, it was a gap down opening for VIX, as you can see on your screen. It opened at least 7% lower, but from those lower levels, it's gone up once again and still quoting above the level of 20. So watch out for the Volatility Index. All right, so we'll tell you which are the stocks that Agam and I would be asking our experts on the show. One of them is Wipro. There are reports indicating that the company will be coming out with a buyback at a price of 320 rupees per share. Remember, the stock was up yesterday. Some bit of long build-up was seen. Dewan Housing, a lot of action seen there as well. And Tata Motors is the other one, a stock which was languishing in that range of 180 to 200 for the last 6 months, has finally broken out of that range of 200, Agam.
That's right. So those are stocks we can watch out for, and we should get in our experts. But before that, if you have any queries on regarding futures and options markets, you can call us on 022454044141. And of course, write to us on Twitter and Facebook with the AskBQ hashtag. We're also back on YouTube, so that's another medium through which you can have access to this show. Let's welcome in our experts for the day. Then we have Brijesh Singh of StockAxis and K. Subramanyam of Altamount joining us on the show. Good morning to both of you. Brijesh, to start with you, your view on the markets in general from here on.
Good morning, Agam and Amit. See, if we talk about Nifty, no doubt any negative news has been discounted, and it looked like in this series of month of April, we might try and break the 52-week high, and as I have said, 11,400 and 11,225 are the two important support level. Now we can increase the support level to on the higher side. So I am looking 11,500 and 11,550 band as a nice support. It should be holding on. And whereas the higher side is being concerned, 11,885 followed by 12,125 are the resistance zone. As per the Nifty future is being concerned, I'm looking in Nifty future. If it trades somewhere around 11,700 and below that, one can take a buy call in it with the stop loss of 11,580 and play for the target of 11,910. The time frame to hold this strategy would be till expiry.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on Nifty. Mr. Subramanyam, good morning to you. A report I was reading this morning that the open interest for Nifty futures this time around for the April series is at multi-month low, I believe 20 to 22 months. The open interest is at about 1.5 crore, at least for the current series. Does that worry you? And also if you could tell our viewers, what does that mean? Does that also indicate that the downside from the current levels could be limited?
Yeah, to a certain extent, I think the open interest could be the low open interest could be because of the fact that now we are entering into some period of quite a lot of uncertainty in terms of, I mean that will be thrown up by the polls. So from that aspect, we have seen some lighter volumes. But I think broadly the trend still seems to be up, but one has to take it by day. First of all, we have the big event, and also the global markets are not exactly supportive currently. I think they also got into some sort of reactionary mode. So one could possibly hedge by doing some sort of option strategy. So I've got a covered call. So one could possibly buy Nifty and sell 11,700 call for the next week, that is April 18th. And keeping a very modest target of 11,800 and keep a stop loss of 11,650.
Okay, so that's a covered call there where, well, Mr. Subramanyam is buying the Nifty but also selling the 11,700 call. For those who are not certain of what a covered call is, it is when you're expecting a near-term positive up move, but you're also relatively neutral with a positive bias on a security or an index for that matter. And this involves selling a call option of the asset in which an investor has bought securities, or that for that matter, it can apply to an index too. But moving on, what about stocks? Mr. Subramanyam, coming back to you, what stocks are you betting on today?
Yeah, the pharma is slowly and steadily coming back into limelight. They had a lackluster March series, but April has begun on a pretty good note. And I think along with the IT pack, pharma is also seeing some buying. So my pick is Biocon, which has not at all performed the last, I think, 5-6 months. It's been in some sort of a narrow range. But we are witnessing some buying closer to levels of 600, 610, 615. So one could possibly buy this for a possible target of 629. Also suggested a stop loss of 611. And the second one is Bank of Baroda. The PSU banks have been in fine fettle. And Bank of Baroda has been one of the ones which has seen buying at lower levels. Seen some consolidation in the last few days, so one could possibly buy this for a target of 138, but also recommend a stop loss of 127.
Okay, so those are the stock future strategies coming in from Mr. Subramanyam. Brijesh, in your strategies, Wipro also features, and that was one stock that we wanted to discuss with you today. You've got a short call, and if I look at the stock, it's been going up in the last 4 trading sessions. And of course, there are some reports of buyback, agnostic of that report. But tell us technically on the charts, why a short call when the stock's been moving higher?
See, Navneet, when we talk about Wipro on the hourly chart, the stock had made the shooting star formation followed by inside bar, which indicate the sell call being generated. Now, if I talk about the future, right now the recent swing high of 279.5 or say 280 would be acting as a resistance. So I'm looking that thing as a stop loss keenly, and the strategy which I have given is for a swing based trading, hardly for a day or two. So somewhere around 276, 277, if stocks trades, one can take a sell call in it with a strict stop loss of 282 and play for the target of 266.
Okay, but Brijesh, Kotak Mahindra Bank also looking good for you?
Yeah, Agamsi, Kotak Mahindra Bank had made a triple base formation somewhere around 1328 to 1330 band, and it has from there it has always been bouncing, and the previous swing highs of 1353 was been acting as a resistance. So it has broken that resistance with increase in volume. So it indicates bullishness for me. Even the trend line breakout has been witnessed. So present rate of somewhere around 1366 it's been trading, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm looking, if it trades somewhere around 1360 nearby that, one can take a buy call with a stop loss of 1340 and play for the target of 1395 to 1400. Time frame to hold this with 2 to 3 trading session.
Okay, long call on Kotak Mahindra Bank and a short one on Wipro. Well, the other stock which was on our radar is Tata Motors. Let's just pull up that stock. It's perked up once again, and it is trading with gains of almost 2 to 2.5%. Remember, yesterday also we did see mild bit of long position. The open interest didn't go up as much. It was just up about 4 to 5%, 2% higher right now, almost 210 on the stock. Mr. Subramanyam, this was a stock which was languishing in that range of 180, 175 for the longest time, I guess, in the last 6 to 7 months. Are you convinced with the breakout that the stock has seen above the mark of 200? And if yes, would you recommend any call here?
Well, this stock has definitely sort of surprised us by the move that we have seen on the upside. Definitely, the chart definitely indicates a very bullish bias, but I would still be a bit neutral and not recommend any buy on this stock, and probably wait out for some more time before taking a broader view and giving a recommendation.
Okay, well, that's Tata Motors for you. And we already have Brijesh, who's suggesting a short in Wipro, and this is another stock that we did want to address. And the reason behind the positive sentiment, of course, in today's day of trade is probably the expectations of the company announcing a buyback. We've been talking about this since December last year, and we've been suggesting that Wipro will now come up with a buyback. But at some point in time, there were indications that the company was waiting for a merger within the company itself with respect to some of its subsidiaries, and there were a few other details. There are a few other issues that the company needed to sort before they come ahead and announce a buyback. But now that some of those issues are behind the company, the voices for the buyback are growing louder and louder. At this point in time, we only have a date where the company and the board will meet when it comes to its earnings, but we do not have any indications yet of the board taking up the buyback as well. However, nothing stops the company from announcing that, and there is a possibility that can come through in the next couple of days, perhaps in the run-up to the earnings, or it could even happen after the earnings are announced. It's anyone's guess there. But Brijesh has suggested that he's looking to short Wipro. But let's also take Mr. Subramanyam's view here. Mr. Subramanyam, how would you trade Wipro? Are you also cautious when it comes to this one?
Well, Wipro, going with the broader sentiments, the IT pack, now that the rupee is also weakening, and this is one stock which was not exactly performing, but with this sort of buyback news and the fact that rupee is weakening and the IT results are around the corner, I would probably be a bit bullish on the stock, and I think this stock could go up to levels of maybe 285, 290 in the very near term. And let's not forget there is also a lot of shorts in this system, because I think we did have some bearish news about some offloading of the shares by the promoter to one of their I think sister concern. So, but after that, again, the stocks have gone back to stronger hands like LSE and GSE. So there's a very interesting play, I mean, in Wipro. So I would definitely be bullishly inclined, and any lower levels, in case we do get maybe a slip off, maybe a couple of percentage points, I think buying will come, and on the upside, as I mentioned, 285, 290 should be well within touching target.
Okay, remember a buyback will be sentiment positive, and these are just reports. There's no confirmation coming in from the company. If it comes, it will definitely increase the payout ratio towards the shareholders, and hence it is sentiment positive for Wipro. The other stock I want to discuss is Dewan Housing. The stock has been quite active in the last few sessions. In fact, just in the month of April, it's seen returns of nearly 10 to 11%. It was in the ban period, but yesterday it did come out of that. And now also, if you look at the total open interest as a percentage of market-wide position limit, as of yesterday's close, was nearly 86%, which is telling you there are a lot of positions being taken for this counter. It's up 0.5% today, and yesterday it saw gains of nearly 4%. Brijesh, on the charts, would you recommend any sort of trade on the upside for Dewan Housing, or would you avoid?
See, right now I would be avoiding, because the stock no doubt had moved from a level of 128 and higher tops and higher bottom formation has been there. But on the hourly chart right now, the stock is in the process of making a bearish engulfing candlesticks, which indicates a negative view. That too with the increase in volume. So at this juncture, I would be avoiding, but if it trades somewhere around 160 zone, definitely one can take a buy call with a strict stop loss of 153 and play for the target of 175 to 178 for a week time frame. But at this juncture, I would be avoiding, but it would be in my buying list when it trades somewhere around 160.
Okay, let's talk about DLF a bit as well, because we do know that about a few days ago it did see a very sharp dip, and since then it is trying to regain, well, the levels of 190 or it's at 189 to be precise currently. There isn't too much change in its open interest, but Brijesh, over the last 5 days, has anything changed drastically for DLF in terms of the way the charts are looking? Would you buy, would you sell, or would you want to avoid at this point in time before you can wait for some more, well, details to come out from the charts?
See, Agam, right now DLF, we all know that the reality pack had outperformed, and from past a week or so, it's been outperforming it. As purely concerned on the DLF at 189, right now I don't think so. It's on a buy side, but if it trade somewhere around 180 or say 184 in this band, then one can take a buy call with the stop loss of 174 and play for the target of 195 or say 196. But even how, if someone wants to play any stock in a reality, then overall reality looks good. You know, from 520 odd, the recent swing low, the stock has had moved up consistently. So at the present rate also, if someone wants to play for a buy side at 571, one can take a buy call with the strict stop loss of 550 and play for the target of 620 to 625 in a month time frame.
Okay, before we get to the queries, let me quickly discuss the top gainer on Nifty. That's Cipla, up 3% in trade, and the volumes are pretty much on the higher side. Yesterday, overall traded quantity was almost 17.5 lakhs, and as of now, as I see on NSE's website, almost 22 crore shares have been traded here. Not much of a build-up when it comes to open interest. That's up only 3.5%. Mr. Subramanyam, would you take a bet here on Cipla on the long side?
Well, Amrit, yeah, definitely the pharma counters seem to be coming back to action. In fact, we had a buy call on Cipla at around 530, and I think no, the entire trend is changing. So I think current levels, I would probably put a stop loss at maybe 540 thereabout. Should it has shown some very strong breakout, but this could be heading to levels of 555, 560 in the very short term.
Okay, well, I'm going to take up a query or two right now, and we do have one on a cash stock that's from Sumbul Shahid. And well, Shahid, all I can tell you right now is that we will not be able to take any cash queries in this show. However, we can address them in Ask BQ, and I will most certainly forward them to the producer of Ask BQ. But we do have a question on the bank Nifty strategy. Again, a regular Tamil Selvam who wants to know whether or not there is any trading strategy on the bank Nifty. So I'm going to go back to our experts and perhaps we can talk about that one as well. We do have one. Okay, so look, let me just go across to Brijesh on this one. Brijesh, how would you play the bank Nifty right now?
See, if I talk about Bank Nifty, taking a spot value, it's been trading in a range of 29,700 or say 29,750 on a downside, followed by 30,300 or 30,350 on the higher side. And the best part is right now it's been consolidating in this range and they have not broken 29,700. And if I'm not mistaken, in a week time frame, the Bank Nifty twice taking a support of 29,750, it had bounced back. So right now at this juncture, taking a spot value of 30,100, I would be avoiding. But if it trades somewhere around 29,900, then one can take a buy call with the stop loss of 29,700 or say 750 and play for the target of 30,300.
Okay, that's a call coming in on Bank Nifty, which is just about trading flattish in today's session. Remember, tomorrow is also the expiry, so be careful while executing any trades. TCS, the heavyweight on Nifty, has seen cuts of almost closer to 2% as we speak. Remember, yesterday that was up and about. The earnings also come out this Friday. The stock will be in focus alongside Infosys, which will also come out with the numbers. Mr. Subramanyam, yesterday the stock was up. If anyone would have executed a position on the long side, what would you suggest them to do now?
Well, consider the fact that tomorrow we are going to results, though no unpleasant outcome is expected. The outlook seems to be bright, and that's the trend being shown by the charts also. But today it's showing some sort of a downtick. So one could possibly put it maybe a stop loss of around 2025 just to safeguard any downside. So on the day of the results, it might show some volatility. So very fresh positions probably for the current juncture could be avoided.
Let's move in and take another query, and this one is on Tata Steel. We have Parthi, who has bought the Tata Steel 490 put at 6, and he wants to know what can be done. Well, Tata Steel has seen a little bit of strength of late, and it's quite away from, well, 490. That specific put, of course, yes, as you can see, it has lost almost all its value now at, well, the 490 put, considering Tata Steel's underlying is at 556. I'm not sure if Parthi has too many options here, but Brijesh, if you can come in on Tata Steel in general, would you wait to book losses in this specific put, or would you want to, would you ask the viewer to, well, move out with whatever the viewers got?
It's better to book loss, Agam. The stock on a daily chart, after giving a closing of 525 or say 530, the stock has been moving up. Now it has made a base of 525, 520. 530 zone. I'm not looking stock would be coming down in a near-term time frame. So any dip would be, and if it comes, then people would be, or a trader would be coming and buying the stock with the stop loss of 525. And whereas on the higher side is been concerned, 575 to 580 would be the first resistance, followed by 625. The 625 would be the tough resistance. So in coming days, might be a 6-month time frame, the stock would try to touch the level of 625. But at this juncture of time, the better book loss. And I am not looking a stock should break 525 or say 530 in this series.
Okay, that's Tata Steel for you. The other one, in fact, the top F&O gainer right now is PC Jewelers, and the stock's been buzzing in the last few sessions. Last Friday, it was up 7%. Monday also, it had a good run of almost 5%. Remember, the stock's also in the F&O bands, which also means that you can only take intraday position and not roll over your positions into this counter. Mr. Subramanyam, PC Jewelers, a lot of interest has been seen in this counter, and also it's in the band period. But if somebody is already sitting with a long position or any sort of other option strategy, how are the charts looking for this one? Is it worth waiting by?
Well, it's very similar to the chart that DHFL exhibits, because all these stocks have had some pretty severe cracks in the last few months, and now they are on some sort of a comeback rally. So one has to be a bit cautious trading in these stocks. So as far as the PC Jewelers is concerned, the going still seems to be good. But anybody holding the stock, yeah, it's one has to possibly keep a stop loss of around 89 and ride this rally. And you never know. I mean, a strong recovery of this nature could take it up to levels of 100. But going by the nature of the volatility that we have seen in this stock, 89 should be a preferred level where one has to put stop loss.
Okay, well, on that note, I'm going to take a moment to thank both our experts, Brijesh as well as Mr. Subramanyam, for joining us and taking us through their views and solving some of our viewer queries. Do remember, you can always access the futures and options pages on BloombergQuint.com, where we have plenty of data for you for your perusal, and that could help in your decision making in trading. And on that note, it's a wrap on this edition of the F&O Show. But for more news and updates, stay tuned to Bloomberg.